What's going on, guys, and welcome back to DSG. And in this video we're going to be talking and discussing about the new raid expected to come in a couple weeks time. While I haven't been overly excited of an earlier release time, we just got the first couple teasers for this raid, and I'm certain we will probably get this raid in mid to late September. We'll be discussing several topics in this video, starting off with what we learned from the Forbidden Depths, followed by possible plot for the raid, then the requirements and mechanics for the next raid, possible usable characters, rewards and gear, and finally, what does this mean for the Forbidden Depths? So with our first topic, what we learned from the Forbidden Depths. First things first, there will be the best raid team, and it will probably take a couple weeks for the better teams to emerge, and then a month or so later until the best team comes on top. We'll have to wait for that team. Kind of like how the Barley Who team before the first nerf back in November actually took a while to shine, as the Pixie Papa team was actually the top team at the time. Blue was quick to nerf that first team, but it took a while to nerf the Barley Who team, and post-nerf Triton Calhoun Beast Hero team came out, and once again people are able to successfully do the raid quickly. From these nerfs, we have learned that the glue team is out there to make sure that the raids are challenging and that no investment is guaranteed for raid teams. We also learned that the raid bosses do not increasingly get more difficult as you progress. The opposite was more true, as many people, even to this day, most people will agree that the glut phase is the most difficult. The only caveat is that as you progress forward, the raid bosses have more health. The second topic we will be discussing is the next raid's plot. Now, we have obviously gotten those new trailers, and those new trailers, obviously we know that we're going to be getting Zeus now, and that it looks like we're probably going to be doing something in the Hercules realm. This is going to be a more creative part of discussion of the video, and it's going to be about obviously the plot for the raid. In the Forbidden Depths, we were obviously fighting the villains from the Little Mermaid films, and with the final battle against the big Ursula. In this raid, I think we'll be doing something similar and following the film of Hercules a bit more. I believe we'll be fighting the Titans and fighting a way to save Zeus and the other gods of Olympus in the final battle of Mount Olympus. This obviously has confirmed that Zeus will be the next raid reward, exactly the same as Ursula. In terms of the plot, of course, this is just what I think could possibly happen, but I think it makes sense from where the plot in the movie is, and hopefully they do follow it similar to how they kind of took aspects from the film from The Little Mermaid and bring it over to this raid. Topic number 3, requirements and mechanics of the next raid. I think they're going to add another requirement level for each raid and go from tier 5 in heroic currently with Forbidden Depths to tier 6 raids plus heroic for a total of 7 difficulty tiers for this raid. I believe tiers 1 through tier 6 will have the same requirements of the previous tier, with heroic tier requiring 7 stars and gear 7. Hopefully they do follow Swaga, where the new raid will have a separate ticket system so that clubs do not have to choose which raid to do, and instead will have the option to possibly run both raids at the same time. And just for clarification, the following game mechanic I'm about to discuss has been brought up by the devs, but the actual game mechanic may be different in the game when the raid comes out. The devs previously discussed that clubs will be able to determine the order of which the raid can be done. They no longer will have to complete the raid chronologically and could possibly go from phase 4 to phase 1, phase 4, then 2, 3, and 1. It's really up to how the club will decide that. Though there hasn't been final confirmation or clarity on this mechanic, that is what I remember the devs discussing a couple months back, I believe during a community discussion. I also think that the raid bosses will become more resistant to turn meter reduction and will have some type of counter to Calhoun's beacons, because of course what would work in the previous raid may not work in this raid, and we'll probably find some type of new character or mechanic where we will be able to obviously beat the raid like we've already done several times with the Forbidden Depths after 2 or 3 rounds of nerfs. Topic number 4, possible usable characters. This is my least favorite topic to discuss because these aspects of the raids we cannot really predict. It's the hardest one to predict. If you reference Swaga, raid teams in one raid aren't as effective in another raid. I think the same will be true in the new raid, and the Calhoun team we currently are working with will not be as effective as they are in the current raid. There is some rumbling around the community that possibly the Jungle Cruise characters and the Adventurer tag could shine in the new raid, but of course, that will be determined when the raid comes around. I will say, if there is a new tower similar to the Triton Tower, I would be cautiously optimistic for that character or characters, and it could very well be that the new Jungle Cruise characters are going to fall under that category. But do not take this advice to heart, as it is all speculation, and it took months before people took Triton seriously when we saw what he was able to do and became a key part of the post-nerf raid team. A similar situation could happen with the new raid, so when it comes to characters, do not jump the gun and wait for the whales and skillful theory crafters to show us the way. Topic number 5 is going to be raid rewards and new gear. The new raid will obviously introduce new gear 9 materials, and I believe vision fragments will become the new dream fragments, the flower pieces will become the new essences, and the mirages will become the new illusions. I believe these will become easier to accumulate through raid rewards, and the Ascension campaign will become even more important once the raids are out. I believe we will still get tier 7 and below materials, but there will still be a much heavier emphasis on the next gear tier in terms of raid rewards. There possibly could be a new exchange, but my guess is most likely these pieces will simply be added to the raid and club exchanges. I believe the 2 remaining pieces will require epic pieces from tier 7, and there will be a new rare piece or pieces for tier 8 that will mirror the epic pieces in tier 7 that are only available in the raid exchange in tier 5 and up rewards. And our final topic, what does this mean for the Forbidden Depths? I believe that with the new gear tier, we will be able to obviously do more damage in the Forbidden Depths raid, and in theory, complete it faster. I don't believe we will get to the point like in Swaga where you can basically put any high gear team in the pit raid and do well on heroic. I think that we are several gear tiers away from that, but it will alleviate the time it takes to complete the Forbidden Depths raid. I also believe more people will have more gear 7s than ever before, as another event will allow players to get even more lower tier gear materials, and of course some gold. My only request is that eventually the Forbidden Depths raid becomes an auto raid, where there is a join period and people will get their rewards just like the pit and tank raid in Swaga without actually having to do the raid and just signing up for the raid. I don't think they need to do this immediately, as the raid is not even a year old, but eventually they will have to, and many people will probably feel this way because it is starting to feel like a chore to do these raids. And that's going to end it for this video, guys. If you have any suggestions that you want to talk about the new raid, please feel free to head down in the description in the comments and discuss it down below. If you guys want to head over to the Discord, definitely go over there. We can chat it up for the raid. I'm excited for it. I'm sure many of you are too. And of course, help us get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year as we keep on growing the Den Folk. If you guys like this video, share it with your friends, share it with your club, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.